In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Kryptonite Show. Woo! I just love that intro, man. That is so badass. I hope you guys are enjoying it out there. Your host Superman in the house, and we're gonna have a lot of fun here on the old crypto and pulse chain markets. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Yeah, we've got a really fun question today. What is going on? What is going on there? Confusion out there. Thousands of people. I'm talking about literally thousands of people wondering what the heck is going on pulse chain. And of course, we've got Atropa theory coming into play now. We've got PDai maker ESM. We're going to talk about that. We got XUSD. They seem to be leading the whole game, the whole gambit. So yeah, and that brings in, of course, James Maria, of course. So it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about that. Hope you guys enjoy it. And of course, we're going to be covering PDai, USDC, USD Tether, and Bear a little bit as well. Because there's a lot going on in that space. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Get into the chat there, get your opinions out, and of course, hopefully they've got some, evidence you've seen behind them. Get in there and let us know your thoughts and feelings about this. Feelings, getting your feelings there with that, because you guys know how we love to roll. All right, all right. enough humor. We're trying to keep the humor down on the channel, but I hope you guys are having a good time. We got Wookie in the house there. Wookie is here to dive some more. Nice one, Wookie. And we got Unprotected Hex in the house there as well. Only the strong will survive this market. PDai to one. Dora. All right, enough of that. I'm going to get thrown off the show before I even know it. So pretty awesome. Let's get into it. Get into the chat. Say hello. Don't forget, if you're on Rumble, big shout out. Loving Rumble over there and the Freedom channel, and it's pretty awesome. Smash the follow button and repost the channel around to your friends over there, and of course get into the chat and make yourself known. Watching's one thing, but participating is even better, right? Even better. And it's all about you. It's not about me. So let's get into it and rock and roll. All right, so we got Brennan in the house there. Good to see you, Brennan. Yeah, Brennan, I'm sure you've got some insights into this PDai maker theory and the Atropa theory and the XUSD theory. I mean, they're all theories. I should have put theory on the end of XUSD, but I don't think it's much of a theory. I think we're seeing a lot of action happening there. So yeah, we're going to be talking about devs like Katie with the C, Katie with the C in the house as well, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Big shout out to people in this area, particularly that provide a lot of evidence. So I'm thinking of 99 Capital. So I really appreciate his approach to all of this. Obviously, when you get into the sort of things, you get a lot of conspiracies out there, people with half information, and I'm sure we're trying to go. Sure, we're going to be seeing more of that in the future. Just the way it goes. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get ready to rumble, and we're going to kick off with the markets. We'll start stock market crypto, and then we're going to get into pulse chain markets, and then we're going to get into all the PDai maker theory, the Atropa theory, and XUSD. We're going to cover it all by the time we get to it. So that's kind of our show. I guess it's in 3 parts, and so I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it without further ado. Let's cover the state of the play, I guess, the state of the play, and make sure I'm in the right place here to kick it off. All right, let's go. Bam. Well, we had the stock market, doing some pretty crazy stuff overnight. Not funny at all, but we do know that we're in a volatility period. And of course, we had the POW, so-called neutral Federal Reserve coming into play, and so smashing the markets a little bit there. S&P 500 in sharp drop on hawkish POW. Nvidia slump there. Now, obviously, hawkish POW basically meaning not going to be lowering rates anytime soon, pretty much. So, and also Nvidia slumped as well with a bit of a hit of the tariffs too. So, Nvidia, of course, the big AI chip maker, and of course brought out the Blackwell chip end of last year. I think it was December as well. All right, so let's get into the results. We've got the Dow Jones is down 1.73%. That's quite a bit of hit. Remember, the Dow Jones sort of like the top 30 industrials in the United States, down 121 points to down 700 points, I should say, down to 39,669. So broken below that 40,000 mark. We got the S&P 500 down 2.25 points or percentage points, and that is 121 points down to 5,275. and the Nasdaq with all the tech companies in it, all the famous ones, is down 3%. That's quite a big day down, 516 points to 16,307. So the stock market is down in the United States. The VIX, which is the kind of the volatility index, it matches that. That is up 8.4%. So obviously risk off, right? Risk off on the stock market there. The US dollar is below 100, which is crazy. Remember when Trump sort of got in, everyone was excited before all the tariff adjustments. It was up at about 108, and that means that the US dollar is strong. Means the purchasing power of US consumers is strong. Obviously, with the weaker dollar, it means the exports are more competitive. But arguably prices are a bit more expensive. So therefore, that plays into the Federal Reserve's kind of idea, right? That's kind of the logic there. Now let's go to the commodities because we had some groundbreaking stuff happening in the commodities here. So let's get to that. We got West Texas oil at $63, up 0.8%, but oil has pretty much been down a lot under Trump, right? So let's go to the 6 monthly chart, and you can pretty much see that it's actually been, diving pretty much from January all the way up from $78, and of course we did bottom out here at about $58, and we're back up at 63, but still relatively cheap under the Trump administration. Brent oil there at $66.25, down 0.5% as well. Now it's going to bode well for the US summer coming up with the driving with these lower prices. And hopefully you guys are going to start seeing that in the pump as well, because obviously they do things like forward pricing, all sorts of other stuff, and they always are slow to decrease the prices, faster raise them, right, on all prices. That how they play profit gouging, and hopefully we'll get some regulations about that, because I think they need the hard word, just like banking. Banking needs the hard word too. Banking needs a right big cleanup. We know that the Trump administration starting on regulations. I hope they go beyond just leveraging, which is important for the economy. But I really hope that they start, pulling in some of these corporates on corporates on Main Street as well as Wall Street, right? So hopefully they start doing some stuff like that for the people. They've got away with blue murder sometimes, haven't they? And so let's see how that goes. I mean, you think back. I don't want to get too distracted, but you think back 2008 and the Great Recession. They didn't pay the price for that hardly. I mean, some individuals and stuff, but they got away with blue murder and then got bailed out. I mean, come on. They wrecked, the mum and pups investments, and they made massive bonuses, and then they end up getting bailed out to do it all over again. Come on, that needs to be addressed. And the Democrats have been a big party, and so the Uni Party members in the GOP. Many of them have gone now, and that all needs to be addressed. So I'm hoping that's one area that the Secretary Bessent does address there as well. All right. We've got gold, though. This is the story of the day, really. Stock markets are down, obviously, dramatically, but gold is actually up over 3,300. Can you believe it? My goodness. Let's get into the max chart on that just to show you how glorious gold is looking. Look at that thing. Oh, we're in record history territory. We are witnessing this breakout. I mean, this is a huge breakout. Look at that climb on gold there. Absolutely beautiful, man. I mean, we've come all the way from that sort of resistance zone around $1,800 down here at 1960, rallied all the way up to 3,300. Man. And you guys know we're looking at gold, Bitcoin being the digital gold, right? We got Michael Saylor with 20-year price forecasts of huge numbers, right? Of up to $13 million for a Bitcoin by 2045. I mean, we're talking about big numbers. So digital gold, the law of convergence, right? We converge on to physical gold. Obviously, Bitcoin's far more, transferable. Try and transfer some gold around, right? As opposed to just send some a Bitcoin. It might take you still 10 minutes in the Bitcoin blockchain. I mean, if you go away from EVM chains, even more advanced chains than EVM chains, back to Bitcoin, man, it is slow. And of course, we've been doing that a lot over the last 2 years. And man, it's like, oh my God, go for a cup of tea, have a cup of coffee, call your friends, go for a holiday. I mean, it's just like, that's how slow the Bitcoin network feels once you've moved away from like EVM chains and more modern chains that are coming up. So it's pretty crazy. All right. So that's kind of where we are with gold, but it's breaking out 3,358. And we had Morgan Stanley talking about 3,500 this year. I think that's underplayed. I think gold can really, really go high. And the other thing is, I think silver's been kept back, a bit like Ethereum has relative to Bitcoin. I think silver has been kept back, and I think that's going to have a hyper pump, especially if the US dollar continues to, depreciate. We will see. Now, there's two different camps about the US dollar. That's a different topic, so we're not going to get to that today, but that's kind of where we are. Now, Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, signals rate cuts aren't coming soon as inflation remains key for focus. Now, I think he's got some arguments here, but I also think, is there a bit of politics playing on here as well? That's the question, right? So Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said Wednesday that the Fed was focused on ensuring impact of tariffs only as a one-time boost to inflation. So you can't really argue against that argument, I think. Dashing investor hopes that the central bank could lean towards rate cuts to cushion the potential blow on the economy. But we always know that if he is a neutral player, that if we do head towards, say, a recession, or at least a soft recession, remember, recession is a technical recession is 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, right? So that's quite a significant move to get down there. We know that we've still got quite a bullish, economy still going, and there's some weaknesses, but still quite some good parts. So there is definitely problems. We know a lot of CEOs are saying that we're technically kind of in a recession at the moment. They're seeing different signs at different parts of the sector of the economy, but then we've got other parts doing quite well. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. So that's kind of where we are there. Our obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored and to make certain that a one-time increase in the price level does not become an ongoing inflation problem. And I think this kind of narrative will change very quickly, on a dime, almost on the dime. So keep a lookout for that. I think this is going to probably change on the dime there. Powell said in prepared remarks. Powell remarks paled in comparison to those from Fed Governor Christopher Waller, who on Monday said that if the impact of tariffs threatens a deep economic slowdown, then he would back a sooner rate cut, even if it's accompanied by a jump in inflation. And that's what I'm talking about, right? That switch on a dime could definitely happen under the right pressure, right? They do move to pressure, these guys. They're always late too. The Fed's always late. And of course, we just went through the most violent increase in, I'm going to say violent, but it was the sharpest increase in interest rates off low interest rates. Remember, normally interest rate cycles are about 7 years long. And we've traditionally been used to boom bust cycles about 4 years long. But we had an extended low interest environment, right? And massive money printing. I mean, the money printing under the Biden administration was through the roof. I'm not kidding you. It was through the roof. And not just inflation in the United States printing money, but printing money abroad as well, which is all hidden stuff. That's all hidden stuff. So pretty crazy stuff there. Anyway, that's kind of where we are there. Also, Nvidia was kind of hit with the China exports curbed. And of course, they're talking mostly about the billions of dollars of charges from the Commerce Department's decision to limit exports of its H20 AI chips to the Chinese market. So it was hit a bit there. Now, the one thing I was going to say about that is that apparently the Trump administration has got about, I think it's about $21 billion in tariff revenue already. And they're just getting started there. So that's going to be pretty cool. $21 billion is how much that is, I'm pretty sure. And so that's pretty exciting there. And a big shout out to Ben out there as well, giving us some good alpha in our Telegram group. If you haven't joined that, join up today. I've pinned it to the top of the Telegram group there. But man, that is he's doing some great stuff there. If you haven't got into our Telegram group, definitely join up. It's a great place for information. Honestly, you will love it in there. And we're just building it up. It's the way it goes. So get in there, folks. We're almost at 250 members. Maybe if we can get 4 more members today, we'll get to 250. So definitely join up to that today as well. In fact, I don't know if I've got the link in the chat there on YouTube. So let me post that. And I'm going to post some other stuff here. So let me just pull back from this. That's kind of our stock market coverage today. So we're going to leave that there and get into the chat there, make it lively, and say hello. That's all I can say. So that is kind of where we are with the stock market. Some mixed results there. If you've got gold, you're going to love it. You're just like getting rich. If you're in the stock market, of course, you've just taken your portfolio, pull down a few percentage points. And that's just just what happened there. Now I'm just going to make sure the show is being reposted. So if you're out there, folks, repost the show and get people watching. And I'm going to post it here. So repost on X. And that is the show. So get out there and do that. We've got a few other people in the chat. I'm going to say hello to them as well before we get into the crypto part of the show. And yeah, there it is there. Bam, bam, bam. Send that out. Big shout out to you, Craig. Morning all. Good to see you, Craig. It is golden, says Wookie. Yeah, that golden gold, man. It is doing well. And of course, Bitcoin is the digital gold. We had Jamie Dimon there and getting out there talking about that. Wookie's in the house there, says it's definitely about the Wookie. Just saying, says Wookie. You're talking about yourself publicly. That's you might need a straight jacket there, good old Wookie. Might need a straight jacket. All right, let's get into it before I get in trouble with Wookie as well. That's kind of played now. I wanted to post the Telegram link. You guys join 4 more members, and we're going to get to 250. So you guys contribute that, and you're going to get great information flowing there. So well worth joining in. So let me just find the link here. Now I'm going to add these links into the video description today. I'm going to make sure I do it straight after the show, in fact, because I've been saying it for about 3 days. So it's going to happen today, and we're going to get that all updated. Then I can just say, well, the link's in the video description. It's a much easier thing to do. All right, so let me post that now, and let's move on to crypto. So Telegram, join, and there it is. And of course, on Rumble, it's already there. And maybe some of the mods can post it in the old, Actually, I'll post it myself. I'm post it myself. Join Telegram, and yeah, it's much easier if you put this in the video description. But hey, I've been doing some other stuff. You know how it rolls. All right, so that's kind of cool. Let's move on. And we're going to get into the crypto market, and we're going to go full mode. Let's go full mode on this one. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to smash the follow button, hit the subscribe button, smash the likes, and reshare. That's how we rock and roll. And we are enjoying it here. We've been covering so many good stuff on here, and today is no different. Let's get into it. All right, so we got Bitcoin at the moment. So stock market down, but crypto is holding. It's not necessarily decoupled exactly, but it's definitely having its moments where it's not going down with the stock market. So that's pretty cool. We got Bitcoin at the moment, $84,000, holding up pretty strong, 0.8%. We got Ethereum there down 0.25% at $1,581. That's down a little bit, and it has been on the weaker side. But hey, look, I still think it's going to have its day in the sun once we get to altcoin season. Now here's something we've been watching, right? Bitcoin dominance, 61.9%. So we know that the last bull market was not 70%. So we'll see whether if we're going to continue to go that high. It's certainly it's more likely now, given the fact that this is the way the market's playing out. So we may actually head up to 70% or 65%. I still don't see 70%, but it's possible. But we could still head higher before we get to that altcoin season. We've definitely got the runway for it. Right, we've got 90 days. Within 90 days of all the trade deals being done, those are going to be massive for pumping the market. So that's going to be very, very powerful. Now we've got Solana at the moment is up a 30%, $126. Tron up 1.1% at 25 cents. We've got BNB up 0.25%, $2.08, and 0.5% for BNB at 5.80. ADA's pretty much flat at 60.7 cents there. Suchain there is actually up 0.5%, $2.08. And we've got Litecoin there also up a 30%. So just a little bit of green there, but that's pretty good considering the stock market's down 1 to 3%. So that is pretty good, I think, in the crypto market. So nice. Let's get into the rankings. We've got the market cap of crypto is 2.74 trillion based on CoinGecko's index. It's down 1.2%, so still looking pretty solid. In terms of the rankings, we got Bitcoin number 1, Ethereum number 2, XRP number 4, BNB number 5, Solana number 6, and Tron there at number 7, Dogecoin number 9, and a Cardano number 10 there. And we have the best performer in the last 24 hours has pretty much been Solana, up 4.3% in the top 10, and the best one over the week for the top 10 is also Solana, up 10.5%. So you'd be pretty happy if you're in Solana, wouldn't you? We know that Solana came off its kind of high, I think, back in January with the old meme craze and had quite a brutal retrace. So I guess it's recovering now to some degree is kind of a positive sign, right? So that's kind of nice to see. Now, looking at the top performers in the top 100, let's just re-rank this, and we got Fartcoin. I know it's a sort of a toilet humor, but it is up 9.6% for 24 hours. And what else is next? Curve there is up 7.3%. Hyperliquid's been another top performer. These have been top performers, these ones, 4.5%. And Solana at number 4, up 3.9%. And Binance Stake Sol is up 3.8%. So those are your kind of 5 top leaders there. Look at even number 6 and number 7. You see that? Pax Gold and Tether Gold, all on the back of gold, right? Rallying up over 3,300. So little moves at the moment, but will these start running away? Will these two start running away? Definitely worth looking at, right? Definitely worth looking at these sort of gold-related ones there, and silver ones if there's ones too out there. I'm sure there is. So looking at the top week for the top 100, curve down, making the best move there in the top 100, up 21%. Fartcoin up 21%. Hyperliquid up 15%. Like I say, these have been performing pretty well recently. And then we've got number 4 at Tokenized Exchange. I think that just kind of popped up yesterday, didn't it? It's up 12.5%, and Solana rounding off the top 5 there. So only one in the top 10 is in the top 5 for the top 100 there, and that's up 10% there. Not too bad. And then look, all these golds, these 2 golds here, pretty interesting. Pax Gold and Tether Gold there. Not bad, not bad. Moving up with the price of gold, right? They're back on the gold there. All right, so looking at the trending coins, we got top gainers out of all the coins. We've got 17,000 coins here on CoinGecko. Arb Dodge there, up 99%. Stratus up 87%. And Pump BTC up 55%. And then trending, we've got Vice, Cubic, and Mantra. And, of course, Mantra was the big rug pull, right? And you guys remember that? That was pretty horrific. I feel sorry for people, of course, that have to go through that. But it happens too regularly, I'd say, in crypto. But this is the way it goes. And hey, look, the centralized projects, right? Get rugged. So, yeah, there we go. Look at that. Brutal waterfall. All the way down from about $6 all the way down to 52 cents. And currently at 70 cents. So, there'll be people trading this for little percentage gains or quite decent gains if they can make it, although the downtrend's pretty strong at the moment here on the Mantra OM. So, big drama, right? Big drama there. What's the market cap? Still 687 million market cap. Isn't that crazy? And of course, but it's down from the billions of dollars that it was. So, pretty crazy. Look at the market cap here. So, the market cap was all the way up at $6 billion. $6 billion. With a B, and it goes all the way down to 485 million, and currently at 683. Now, obviously, there was a lot of controversy about tokens being transferred before the waterfall happened, but that's what happens there with the old Mantra. Let's finally look at Bitcoin chart before we get into Pulse Chain and catch up to the Atropa theory and PDai maker discussion. And here we are at the moment. The orange circle there is the circle of volatility, and it's playing out pretty well. Although I must say it's been fairly stable in crypto for the last 5 or 6 days. You can see that in this little range here. And of course, what do we got inside the circle of volatility? Well, you guys know we've got the moving averages, and we got the 200-day moving average is the orange line. It's at 85,000 for Bitcoin. The 50-day is converging, and that is 85,326. There's only $326 difference between these two lines here. How do we avoid a death cross? Because we're in a golden cross. We avoided one already back here in September, and it looks like we might very well do it by the skin of our teeth here right now and avoid a death cross, because death cross generally not good and generally don't escape them. Occasionally you can, but generally you don't escape them. And of course, like a black hole, you don't want to be sucked into another multiverse. I don't know if you guys have been watching the black hole theories out there, but they're getting pretty insane. Talking about going through the black hole, and one guy tells you you're going to get splattered, splat, like that, and then the other guy's going to tell you you're going to be going into another universe. I mean, do these physicists know what they're talking about? I don't know, but we'll find out soon enough. All right. Right, that's cool. It wasn't meant to be a cute joke, but physics jokes, they're kind of funny. All right, so we've got a few people in the house here. So we're avoiding a death cross. Let's get some green candles. And how are we going to get green candles? Well, we're looking forward to trade deals, right? There's well over probably 100 countries. Last time it was 90. It's probably over 100 countries. Remember, there's about 192, 196 countries in the world, depending on how to define it. And most of them are lining up to get deals, and I think there's going to be a lot of good news coming out of that. Now, obviously, the bigger countries that matter, kind of sort of the top 20 that have an impact on the world in a big way, and so we're expecting those big news, and the market's going to like those. All right, I think they're going to come out pretty good, and it's going to be one after another. We already see China already giving overtures of, hey, let's get this tariff war down. Let's calm the tensions. But of course, Trump is reordering the trade order, and we haven't seen those sort of events since 1980s and the 1940s. So we're currently really in history here, and it's love him, hate him. Trump is going to mark his print on the modern history, and when I say modern history, kind of like the last 300 years. That's kind of the play. So pretty awesome. All right, let's see where that goes. We've got Moondog in house there. Hey, Moondog, good shout out to you. Hey, I'm going to be in touch with you, Moondog, by the way. So look forward to me sending you something. Big shout out. And keep up the great work there. And we got Susie Q in house there. Hi, wonderful, suit man. I appreciate it, Susie. Hope you're doing well out there too. And living the dream here on the old Pulse Chain. Hey, look, you survived 20 Black Swan events and 10 Grey Swan events. I'm sure you can look forward to the White Swan events coming upon us in the bull market ahead. And of course, I think everyone can kind of sense. Can you not sense it? A bit of a upbeat in the tempo on Pulse Chain. Bit of a excitement there, So it's going to be a lot of fun to for the future there. We've got Fast Abdul in the house as well, talking about new products coming to Pulse Chain. Well, Fast Abdul launched a 4th liquidity fork with the new stablecoin with the biggest liquidity as well. Big shout out to Fast Abdul there. A pretty good product delivered there, so not bad. Now, what else we got? Jeff Moss in the house there. PDai to 1 dong. Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. That could also be the case there, Jeff. I like what you did there, and I wish I got to get some. I got to get some cool stuff there, but that's definitely worth a horn. I think that's worth a horn. That's definitely worth a horn there, Jeff. You got the horn, the horn shout out there. I think you guys do that in US colleges, don't you? You have horns like that when you have the football come out, run out, and all that sort of stuff. We got pretty good stuff there. Hey, MVS in the house there. Now, if you haven't met MVS is our promotional lead for our crew, and he does an amazing job. So big shout out to MVS out there. If you're not following MVS, definitely follow him. And he's doing a great job there. In fact, I don't know. Let's have a look here. Let's go back into here. Just one moment. I'm going to do something here. And let's go. One moment, please. One moment. We're going to get into this. All right, so let's get back into the mix here. So that is Bitcoin. That's kind of where we are at the moment. And we're going to get into Pulse Chain now, and we're heading towards the PDai Maker Theory. It's coming upon us, and we're going to talk about that. Let us know your thoughts in the chat, of course, as we get into it. That is where we're heading now. So I'm just going to do something here. So let's get into this. And all right. All right, let's go here now. Where did he pop up here? Where did he pop? He's not on this chat. He's in another chat. What chat have you popped up there, MV? Where the heck are you? I still thought you might be here, but you're not there. Let me switch around to another account here now. I have to go find MV. It's the hunt for MV. I should have titled the video "The Hunt for MV." That would have probably been pretty good. Let me find where MV is at. I have no idea what stream he's watching. Are you over on X or something? I don't know. He's not. He's not. He must be on X. He must be on X. Oh well, that's just the way it goes. So I could not find MVS. I think he's on the old X there watching. Now, big shout out to everybody over on X. Hope you guys are having a great time there. We've got an awesome crowd over there, and I do appreciate you all. Don't forget to smash the follow. Heading towards 250. I think we hit 300 on X, and I have to rebuild. Right, I have to rebuild. We were sitting at about 5,500 or something like that over my old account, but then X took it down. You know, I'm not going to cry over salt milk. Can't control these guys, but we started again, and that's what you do in Pulse Chain. You learn after 20 Black Swan events and 10 Grey Swan events. You kind of learn to get toughened up and get ready for the White Swan events that are coming up. And I think things are looking pretty exciting. So pretty exciting today. And today's events kind of interesting. We're going to talk about that and see where that goes. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Now, without further ado, let's get into the Pulse Chain stuff. Don't forget to get in the chat. Let your point be known there. Yeah, you got the X sign there. Appreciate that. And yeah, I was going to do something, but that's never happened. I can't do it on X. So there we go. All right, so let's jump over to the Pulse Chain and get into the markets there. So you guys know that Pulse Chain launched on the 13th of May, 2023. And, of course, that was 706 days ago, 706 days ago. Of course, Pulse Chain is a full system state copy fork founded by Richard Hart and his team back on the 10th of May, 2023. And so, you know, it's been a long journey, and we've had all those events happen to us, but we are tougher and better than ever. Now, we've still got a lot of opportunities. So if you're a builder out there, this is just my opinion. You know, I'm just one person in the community, but you know, I think we need more stuff around bridges. I think we need more stuff around bridges, and I think we need what's the other thing I was thinking of? There was something else on my mind. I just lost it. We need more bridges, and we also need there's something else. It'll come back to me. I'll bring it back up later on. Anyway, let's get into results. We've got day 706. We got the price here at the moment, quadruple 0263, up 3.7%, and that's at quarter of the sacrifice price there. And what a bargain at the moment. Pulse Chain, man. Honestly, Pulse Chain's a bargain right now. And man, it's going to make some people some pretty crazy returns getting in now, honestly. And of course, you got to ignore the FUD and just think about the logic that's going on here. Liquidity pools have been thinned out. The inflation's been cut back. We've already had multiple moves down and capitulation events. And I think things are looking up from here. It's going to be pretty awesome. Obviously, dollar cost average strategy is pretty cool down the bottom here. But man, you buy low and you sell high. You buy low and you sell high. At the moment, Pulse X quadruple 0206. And that is down, 0.75%, 2/3%, I should say. And the buying burn sitting at 1.377 trillion, 6.97% of the public supply has now been bought up and burned. Incentive token, that's $1.15. That's pretty much flat today, up slightly. 55 million tokens in existence approximately. And all I'm going to say about the inflation's been cut 20x by Richard Hart's team. The signals are being given. The signals have been given. People can decide what they're going to do there. Hex at the moment, 0.6 of a penny, down to 2.4%. EHEX at 0.15 of a penny. Combined price of EHEX and PX is 0.75%. Let's say 0.75% there. That is the combined price there. And what a bargain at the moment. What a bargain at the moment. You guys know, just like it goes down real fast, man, it's going to go up real fast. That's the other thing. And once it starts going up, man, the amount of coins you can get is much, much less. And of course, if you haven't seen that, just think about the PDai recovery overnight. Just think about that. It's overnight my time, maybe during the day your time, is the PDai recovery. So it just happens very, very quickly. It did a 10x recovery. Imagine how fast this is going to recover. And then before you know it, you're finding it really hard to get coins. And there's more being burned, right? More being burned. And so it's going to be pretty crazy. So definitely check that out. Let's have a look at the gas prices. So gas prices have been pretty crazy, right? So we've been 7.3 million beats at the moment. We saw it well over 200 million, I think it was, with the PDai dump yesterday. And flash crash. Let's call it flash crash. And we're sitting at 7.3 million. It's a little high, but we've got 7 cents for a pulse swap at the moment. And that's still pretty good chip prices there. Valid at the moment is 49,163. It's pretty similar there. I do understand that there are a few issues with validating for the chain. We definitely experienced that, I think. So I don't know if it's to do with the quality of the validators operating as opposed to the number. Probably is the case. Probably need a little bit of work there. I do know that one of the teams we're about to talk about, which is XUSD, XUSD is definitely looking at doing more validators. So that's a little bit of tidbit there. And that came from the words of Katie there, the dev that's leading a lot of this stuff that's going on with the old PDai maker theory. We've got the bridge there at the moment. The bridge has got $80 million on it. So that's pretty solid, pretty similar to yesterday, probably down a little bit from yesterday, but still over 80 million. And we got 22.4 million DAI. There's the EDAI, of course. And then we got USDC, USD Tether there, also bridged over to Pulse Chain. And then we got the EHEX as well. Now, there was a big hold up in the amount of the bridge yesterday, right? Because as soon as the gas gets, I think it's about 5 million or 6 million beats or something like that. It just backs up, right? So we had a big backup in the old Pulse Chain. There must be a ton of capital that was coming over. I haven't looked to see the bridge updates today, but I'm sure that must have been pretty incredible. Let us know in the chat if you guys are following the bridge. You can follow them on Telegram, right? It's got a whole Telegram feed of all the stuff that's coming back and forth over the bridge there from Ethereum to Pulse Chain. So yeah, definitely one of the things we need is more bridge alternatives. We need more bridge alternatives. Now, we also know that wallets, with Rabby Wallet going and the bank controversy, man, these guys are all fake cryptos, right? They're all fake cryptos. And we just see them time and time again, just abusing crypto. And of course, we've talked about Richard Hart, right? Just came out. We're talking about forking wallets. I think that's pretty good. Now, the only thing I have a concern about that is, of course, Internet Money Wallet from KG's done a wonderful job. I mean, they've had, I think, over 70,000 downloads, and they've done a pretty tidy looking wallet, a multi-chain as well. You get paid with the swaps. It's pretty awesome, and they're full DeFi, so they're not sitting around there censoring things. So big shout out to KG and the team. So that's my only concern about a Richard Hart wallet. And of course, I put out a poll the other day about, is it going to be sacrificed or not? Not necessarily that it will be, but it's a bit of fun to play with. And we've probably got that poll to talk about as well. But here's kind of where we are at the moment. We do probably need another wallet or two for Pulse Chain, and so that's going to be really important. And we do have Pulse Wallet, right? But some people have a little bit of concerns about that, but we still have that, and I haven't really looked through it enough myself. To a little bit, I've played around for a little bit, but not enough to it gives around security guarantees. I'm not a dev anyway, developer. It's best for developers to do that sort of thing. We got the crypto cycles in the house there. Teddy went up over 200%. PDai went down 80%. Got a nice swap rotation. At least there is some action happening. Exciting, yeah. Hey, there's always opportunities. We've been covering opportunities on this channel every single day. We're from printer tokens through to pump tire tokens, through to the PDai maker tokens, through the Richard Hart tokens. There's opportunity on Pulse Chain, and you just have to stay at the frontier of what's happening, and you will do well. So very, very important there. The one thing I was going to say about just going before we leave the Richard Hart tokens is that PulseX has been going up against Pulse, right? So it's been a very good move into Pulse relative to Pulse. So PulseX has been quite a strong star performer there, and we're going to see where that goes from now. Now, let's wrap up the Pulse Chain coverage here. We've got $87 million in volume. Woohoo! Oh, dog. We were down at like 22 million, maybe 27 million tops for the last week. And then suddenly we're now up at 87 million. Oh my God. Things turn around in a heartbeat. This is what I'm talking about, the Richard Hart tokens, man. Don't shy on those. I know that there's obviously a lot of riskier ones to take over, but you certainly don't want to miss out on accumulating some of those sweet Richard Hart bags of Pulse and Pulse X and stuff. And Hex, of course. Hex is kind of, I think, going to be an absolute star performer. Now, obviously, there are a lot of people with the PDai maker theory. We're holding on to PDai getting into dollar, and of course, that is still on the plan to some degree. I don't know if $1, but certainly the chance of appreciation is definitely there, and I'm going to answer why that's the case in a minute. But it's going to be a fun place to see this all rally. Now, look what's at the top of this list. This is the top ranked here on Dex Screener. This is the default view. So trending 6 hours. And you can see that, trending 24 hours, I should say. You can see the XUSD Vibrolate asset is up 500%. Now, people were talking about, this is like first algorithmic coin on Pulse Chain. Now, I'm not sure I agree with that, but I would say that it's a model of a potentiality towards a stable coin, a dollar. And today, over the last 24 hours, we've seen that team move, right? We've seen that team move, and particularly Katie in the chat there, we've seen that move. And man, what a move it was! I mean, this is big player stuff. This is big, big stuff. I mean, these guys are taking big moves. Now, it's very calculated, very intelligent moves. But man, what a move it's been. And of course, they've moved up 500%. Can you believe 500%? And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I'm not going to go through this. We're going through them individually. We're just looking at the total performance at the moment. So we're still kind of finishing our general Pulse Chain coverage. We've got Love.io is moving up there to 300% there. We've got Atropa, which is obviously part of the big story over the last 24 hours. Atropa benefiting from the PDai crash, so to speak. And of course, PDai has recovered to some degree. We're going to look at that coming up. There was a little bit of profit taking just before I started the live stream there. Up 200% there. We've got Die Hard there, of course, related to Die. You get Die there from holding Hard token. That's up 150%. Treasury Bull, another player in the mix here, up 85%. We had quite a few people in the chat yesterday, pumping Treasury Bull. That's up there as well. Teddy Bear, of course. This is James Maria, just like Atropa, James Maria, Teddy Bear. Of course, that got sold off after the James Maria selling off his die, etc. back a couple of weeks ago, and so this is up 34% at the moment, so doing pretty good. We've got a couple other sort of randoms in here. We've got Knights of Orion, which I have covered in part of the community as well. It's up 29%. Nice to see a little bounce there. We got you know. If you know, you know. Hopefully, got that right. If you know, you know. I couldn't get it right the other day, so I've got to do it. If you know, you know. That's up 25%. I mean, it's kind of comedy, right? It's kind of comedy. Do I get a clap for that? No, sure. Yeah. All right. I got it. All right. And then we got Teddy Takeover. So we got Teddy OG, right? Teddy OG is there. James Maria. And then we got Teddy Takeover has come back. So it's come back to life. So Moon King out there, he's rallying the troops for the old Teddy Bear. Of course, he's moved on apparently from PDai, like officially, publicly, from the PDai and of course the OG Teddy Bear, and moved on to the Teddy Takeover, right? The new pump tires version. And that's up 11%, had a real big rebound. So let's have a quick look at that one, since we're not going to deep dive into this one particularly today. But it had a bounce down. And Brennan, you're out there. I called it just that last night. You know it. And that's funny how it played out. Look at that. I said it, man. Oh, that's so funny. And yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. Now, I did have a little trick in there. Of course, I had the RSI giving a bit of a hint to what's going on there. So let's not take too much fame and glory from the RSI. we got the one swap. It was up 8% as well. Loan token, well, good old liquid loans, $52 million sacrifice, the number one sacrifice after Pulse X and Pulse Chain. All right, that is pretty huge, and that is up 5.5%. But are they going to put a bit of that money into the poll? Are they going to pump it a little bit, or what's going on there? Now they have delivered their products. They delivered Pulse Safe, right? That's a multi-sig wallet. You got that product on Pulse Chain. It's definitely used or needed at least. You've got Liquid Loans, of course, the Liquidity fork, the first one, backed by Pulse, the main coin. So that's good. It's been used. And then you've got the stable coin, USDL. That's cool. And then recently, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think it was, we had the Fetch Oracle launch, the first Oracle on Pulse Chain. That's decentralized, right? Not part of an internal Oracle for a protocol. And so that's good news. And so they've done that. They've delivered their products. They've done a pretty professional marketing. But of course, there's a lot of money, $52 million. So how much went into development? How much money is fluttering around there? They also teased us with onboarding. Remember, a big onboarding partnership. Haven't heard anything about that. Let us know in the chat if you have. Of course, we're going to keep our cup half full, right? Optimism. And let's see whether they can deliver that onboarding partnership. Now, I did talk about a big one coming. Sun Mini Meal, right? The big health corporate in the Europe that's going global. And that is going to be doing very well onboarding people onto Pulse Chain. Potentially a lot of people and a lot of money will be coming onto Pulse Chain through that mechanism. 20%, I think it's 20%, yeah, of the sales, I think, are going into Pulse Chain. So that's going to be a good steady stream. I believe it has started, about 2 days ago or so. So that is pretty cool. Although I haven't had the Banksa announcement, so I'm going to double check that. So just put a question mark over that, but I think that's pretty close for that if it has not already started. We know they gave up their keys to the contract for the Soil token. That's SOIL, which is the Sun Mini Meal token there, and that's a major protocol going to be doing stuff for Pulse Chain. So yeah, like I say, lots of good white swan events coming up for the old Pulse Chain. Gophers there, the old 404 contract bought out by Dipcatcher. Woohoo! Big shout out to him, man. That guy is golden. Him and Gold Key, and of course, my other good, person that saved us in the bear market was Alex McFurter with the old Hedron Acosa. Let's not forget those guys. And that's up 3.4% today on that one. So nice there in the innovation, right? Experimental 404s. So there we go. We got Finvestor as well, the king of the printer tokens, the grandfather, as I say. That is up 2.5% as well. So we've got some good stuff happening there. You can see a couple of printer tokens here, just making a little bit of bounce after a little bit of a sell-off there in the dominance. And remember, so printer tokens definitely have been, big stars. But of course, the light has been taken over by the PDai, XUSD, and Atropa moves overnight. So that's kind of taken the gas or the air out of the room, so to speak. So that's what happens. We have little waves of different things, moving as we say. So that's kind of cool where we are. Let's get into the deep dive into the topic of the main show, which is Atropa theory, PDai maker, ESM, XUSD, and of course we're going to talk about PDai, USDC, USD Tether, and I think we've kind of talked about Beard to some degree. So we'll probably leave that there. Let's see who else we got there. 29 Kings, great content, Kryptonite. Hey, appreciate that. Big shout out. Woohoo, says Susie Q. Woohoo. And of course, we're going to get into the magic, I say, of the magical. I think we can say that for sure. So we've got Crypto Cycles in the house. What does this mean for Maria if Atropa is the main theme? Also, Beer is back. Main character Maria might come back. Yeah, that's definitely in the play there. So we're going to talk about some of those associations in a second. We've got Mitch as well in the house there. Mitchie cruising through the Pulse Chain wave. It is indeed. Big shout out to Mitchie team out there. And we'll probably do some more coverage in the future around Mitchie. So big shout out to IC33 as well. Crushing it out there, man. IC33 on Telegram is everywhere. So big shout out to IC33. We see you. All right. Let's get into it. So we're going to get into where PDai Maker was, right? So this is the old pmakersimple.com. I'm going to post you the link so you guys can save to your favorites. And everyone likes to follow this stuff. Well, some do. Let's get into it. So that is the pmakersimple.com. You can find the stuff. So as you may have heard, Maker ESM has happened. So emergency shutdown has happened for Maker, and it's essentially shut down. Now, whether there's options to re-emerge it is unknown as far as I know. I don't believe it is the case, but it's definitely been shut down, which means technically no more printing of PDai, right? No more printing of PDai, and that means no more exploiting as well of PDai by Mr. Dong. Mr. Dong. PDai to one dong, as they say. PDai to one dong. I thought that was pretty funny. We got the total debt there at 128 billion. That was the shutdown, and 600 billion debt ceiling. Remember, that was at 26 billion. Just to give you a refresh, 26 billion. That's at 600 billion. 26 to 600. I mean, so that's how big the move was that the USDX team was doing with the old Katie there with the C. Katie with the C. So pretty big moves happened overnight. It was dramatic on Pulse Chain. And we know that Richard Hart was telling people, don't get into Maker. It is not controllable. It's got lots of issues around internal oracles, relative pricing, even with relays around oracles and, price history. And of course, taking over the contract, fixing it all up and all that sort of stuff. People talking about other alternatives. And it looks like the other alternatives are winning the day. And therefore, we've moved over to not just Atropa theory, but actually to XUSD. So that's kind of where we're moving now. The three theories are playing out. Well, I think PDai Maker has pretty much had the door shut, right? Now, we did have OR, the total amount of debt. So OR there just basically means debt. That was at 1.5 billion. I remember we had 26 billion on the ceiling, and that was the debt ceiling there has been moved to 600 billion, but doesn't matter now because it's been shut down. And there we are at 1.5 billion. Now, the joy there is just the asset in the system, right? The asset in the system to cover the debt that individuals have made in the Maker system, right? So that went to zero. And what does that mean? That means that we moved on from the individual systems sort of covering the debt to a systemic system, a system-wide issue. And so the system-wide solution is the flop auction, which is the next step, right? And therefore, what do you do in a stop auction? You issue Maker, right? You issue Maker. So you got Maker little lots here. If you guys have ever been to auctions with the lots, you have lots in those auctions, and you go bid on those individual lots, right? So at the time, I think these were around about $2,200 each. There's about 235 Maker at the time, but then the Maker price went, down too. And then the people bid in PDai, and of course that's all been shut down. We got the timer still just stuck there basically at 30 minutes, 30 hours or something. So it takes quite a bit of time for these auctions to play out. And if people bid over them again, I think it's like a 6-hour extension on the auctions. So people keep bidding. It could go on quite a bit. And of course, what they do, they issue more Maker, which increases the Maker supply, and then they get PDai, and then they pay off the lines and burn the PDai, right? That's kind of the idea there. And of course, if you got all that Maker from the auctions, you can go and control. You technically, if you had enough of it, you can go and control the contract, right? And potentially shut it down, which is what looks like what's happened, right? Looks like the XUSD with the Katie there probably got control. I think she won something like 73 or 80%, somewhere in that ballpark. I did remember the number, but something like that, and got control of that auction and ended up shutting it all down, right? By using the old ESM button. And of course, we got a little bit of evidence from that on the blockchain. So it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to have some evidence. And so we got the Maker DAO on Pulse Chain has been officially shut down as the fire function. So there's all this terminology that many of you probably just not familiar with. You can obviously go out and try and study a little bit about Maker to do that. As the fire function was successfully called on the ESM contract, this means no more PDai can be minted. And this is the hash, right? That is the hash there, and you can see it being called. So we got the fire there. Contract, and it's been called. So the EMS has basically shut down PDai Maker, right? So that's kind of where we're starting from. That's our foundation that we are moving from there. All right, so let's move on from that. That is kind of the play there. I'm going to post the link to this, and you can go have a look at that. But that is the link there as we go. That's how we rock and roll. I love evidence-based stuff. It's fine, making conjections and summarizing, but it's always good to have a bit of evidence there. That is the link there, and that's why I do enjoy 99 Capital's comments about stuff. Now, it doesn't mean that he's right on all things, like anybody, but it's good to have the evidence, right? And you can respect that, as opposed to someone just saying all this other stuff, and you're like, okay, is that true or not true? It's kind of like, all right. So that's kind of where we are there, and looking pretty good. And of course, you can hit that link there at the top there, and you can hit the old. Contract there, so that's kind of cool. Now, let's go over to the DAI. So what do we have with the DAI? Well, it was dramatic. It was dramatic, and of course, I posted a link in Discord. If you haven't not joined our Discord, the links are in the video description on here on YouTube. Definitely join up today, and it's a private Discord, so it's pretty cool. But definitely join up. Now, we saw the dramatics. This was so dramatic. Now, depending on what chart you're looking at on the P, there's lots of PDai charts with different pools, right? Different amount of liquidity in each of them. But depending on which one you're looking at, they're going to have different wicks on them. But this one here is the DAI pool. And it's not the DAI Pulse pool. The DAI Pulse pool is the biggest one, right? But that I'm aware of. This is the DAI. It's got relatively small liquidity, 40K. But it used to have a lot more in it, of course, before the sell-off. But the price was all the way up here at 3/3100th of a penny, so 3/10 of a penny. And then the drama of night, it went all the way down here. Let me just see if I can get there. went down 99.93%. So apparently Somi, who's been covering PDai, PDai pretty feverishly, woke up and was like, oh my God. But then he thought, oh, well, what do you do in the situation? Buy, you buy, apparently. So that's kind of the panic and then buy, panic, then buy. So that's kind of the dramatics there. And it would have been a bit of a hard thing for people to see. And we were watching it live in the Discord. We were watching it live. We've seen just about every single event on Pulse Chain in the Discord. So if you haven't joined our Discord, join up today, become part of our community. We have seen pretty much it all. I don't think there's very few things we have not witnessed there. And you can take opportunity of these things. So it's a great move there as well. So at the moment, we're at 31/100th of penny, and we have rebounded, right? We have rebounded. So let's have a look at the rebound as we pulled up the story of what is going on with the old PDai maker. And we are back up, right? We are back up 44,629%. Now, a lot of people would not have got in on that wick, of course. So probably hard next to nobody. A few little bots, maybe a few little somebodies. But essentially, I think we got down to a pretty this much level. So if you got in at quadruple 08, you would have been pretty lucky. There'd be a few people maybe around that price. That would be up pretty much 12x right now, right? 12x, and that's probably pretty reasonable. A lot of people probably started getting in, maybe at 0001. So 0001 to here, that's a pretty much a 10x, right? So there's people that were watching, got in there nice and early, not too bad, but 10x there, and it took a bit of leap of faith, right? Like man, this thing's come down, and of course the whale kept on selling. I mean, we're talking about 500 million lots kicked off. That's how it kicked off, 500 million lots. So up here, let's draw a little circle, but up here it was pretty brutal. Where's my circle drawing? Is it over here? Let me find my circles. There it is there. All right. This is not the circle of volatility. This is the circle of dumpability. The circle of dumpability. That happened, right? And it was 500 million. Dump. This guy dump. So what? It looks like won the auction. Dump. And down it went. Just all the way down here. Bam, bam, bam. And then, of course, we've come all the way back up here on the news of what people were like working out. What's going on. And it turns out the USDC team was at play, right? The USDC team was at play. Now, who's some of the people in the team of USDC, right? So we've got a little list here of the community team. So we've got the community team, but I'm going to go straight to the dev team. So big shout out to the community team. We've got dev team, and we've got KD, right? So KD is the one that everyone is talking about that's made these moves. Has apparently her boyfriend, confirm or deny, but was a friend of James Maria, the Atropa dev. So there's some associations there, and of course working together potentially to some degree. We've got Surfacing there, Surfacing as well. We've got Co5 Tick, and we've got Dreaded Hamish there. They're in the dev team there, and of course they launched their XUSD format of stablecoin, right? So we're going to talk about that in a minute. It's kind of a volatile form of stablecoin. It doesn't start as a stablecoin dollar. And of course, you guys know I'm a big promoter of Jacob's algorithmic stablecoin, which is going to be pegged at $1 pretty much from the beginning. And so people can get into that now. You can get into the referral links in the video description. You want to get 90% bonus. And if you do $1,000 bonus, $1,000 contribution, you get the second bonus up to 2x as well. So this is probably kind of basically like pre-minting those tokens. And we know that 75% of that money is going to go straight into the protocol's day one with the stability miner, which is really the secret source of that DeFi stable coin. And it's going to be pegged pretty much at $1 we've seen it operate. And I know, wink, wink, I know that Jacob is very, very excited about that protocol. And Cult DeFi, another influence out in the space there. And Jacob's PR man, very excited as well. I see it as a flagship protocol, and we're excited for that. But at the moment, we've got another team also taking a different approach to moving towards stablecoin, and that is the XUSD. And we're going to talk about that team in a minute. So here we are, a big, nice recovery. Now, it's pretty much stalled out here. This is exactly the spot I said in the Discord that it would stall out, and that's what we're seeing. But is it going to make another move to the higher, right? So in the US overnight, they didn't dump it. Sometimes the US dump it. Sometimes the US will pump it. But they didn't. And so let's see where it might go to from here. That is the play. So let's have a little friendly tool here on the old PDai. Now we've got, we're talking a little story here about the old PDai, but we're going to go use a fib retracement here, and we're going to be very faithful to the fib. We're going to faithful to the fib, and we're going to take it all the way down here. So this gave us sort of some extreme guidelines here to where we might get to. So we had the 23.6 Fibonacci. This was at 0007, and we got some support there, right? So that played out very well, right? We've got support there. sort of rallied all the way up to the 38.2, a pretty good number to target. And this is the number I pretty much said in the Discord. So everything's playing out pretty well. And then we came back down here. Then we rallied all the way back up to pretty much the 38 again. And now we're pulled back again there as well. So the next natural line for us to try and break out to is the 50 on the fib. And that would get us to 1556. So that's kind of the target there. If we were to put a target, that's kind of the target using Fibonacci. Now, Fibonacci is, got a lot of mathematical reliance, but it's a pretty good method. It's just one of many methods you might move, and typically it's good to have 2 or 3 methods applied. But that's kind of a simple one for the YouTube show and on Rumble and X. So that's kind of where we are at the moment on that. So we're going to be looking out for that, and that would kind of be our next target, I guess, for where we might be heading. Let's jump over to where else we got here. I think that was it. All right, so that's kind of where we might be able to target that. Now, I know that Somi's got a nice big arrow to the upper right there as well, and I agree with the sentiment on that. I think that's probably fairly reasonable. Let's see what else we got going. We've got a couple of more comments. We've got Kings in the house there. Cry community stands with you, Kryptonite. Have a big shout out to the Cry community out there. And likewise, reciprocal, pretty cool. And we got about 185 people watching at the moment. So big shout out to everybody. I hope you guys are doing well up there. We got Hardy Hexalorian. Hi, I think we see history right now. I think so too. PDai unfolding, and if this is right, the Pulse universe will thrive absolutely. Now, the big theory about PDai Maker, which I kind of cut off a little bit, was if we get to $1 on a PDai, if we get some sort of system like that. That has a lot of asset backing, particularly, or a burn mechanism, then we could actually, the chains is going to get way more valuable. We're talking lots of money, right? Lots of money. And that's going to underpin, obviously, Richard Hart tokens as well. There's a reciprocal back and forth there. We could see a massive inflation there. And that's where people start talking about $5 hex and things like that. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see all that play out. Good to see Wookie in the house there. What does Wookie say? We've got to interpret. This is like interpretive dance. Wookie's fury slippers are golden. His claws are polished and pointy PDai to one dong. That's true. But you forgot something that Somni would say, and that is, have you got your pigs? Have you got your pigs? You got to say pigs there. Now, apparently I heard something, and I don't know if this is true because I didn't see it myself, but someone said it, and I believe them. But that was that Somni said that every influencer on Pulse Stream we're having a profile picture with pigs there to the nipples, as he says. So I don't know about that. We will see. We will see about that. Frank White, I don't know. That's a step too far. That's a step too far. We got Frank White in the house there. Good morning. Good to see you, Frank. Big shout out to Frank White out there. Doing a great job in Pulse Stream community. Just another great person in our community as well. Looking pretty good. All right, so there we are, 1/10 of a penny at the moment. We've got a bit of a price tag here using fibs at 15.50. So that's kind of where we are. So we've talked about the PDai Maker being shut down. We provided some evidence there with the old hash, and I think I posted that in the chat. Yep. And we've talked about what happened with the price chart with PDai drama, and rebound there. Now, there will be winners and losers in a chart like this, right? So I don't want to get into all that, but you guys can see there's winners and losers in a chart like this. And then we've got the PDai supply, right? So we've got the PDI supply, and we had some drama around this. So we're going to talk about this, right? So we had the contract. We saw that the debt ceiling got raised from 26 billion after the auction there, and we got 26 billion up to 600 billion. I mean, it's a crazy number, right? Crazy number. So huge number increase there in the ceiling. And let me do something here quickly. I'm not sure what's happening here on my computer. But yeah, I mean, 600 divided by 26. I mean, how much is that? That's 23x in the ceiling. 23x increase in the ceiling there. Whoever had the ceiling, stocks in the ceiling would have done well. Anyway, moving on. So that is where we're at. And look at what supply we got now. So we started 26 or so, and now we got 44.37. So we got some good operators happening here. These are not bad operators, so to speak. It caused some bad outcomes for certain people. There are losers and winners in this game, and this chart tells you that, right? This chart tells you that. But on this move, this big move, now we're down to 44.377 a billion DAI, PDai. That's PDai, and of course this can't be minted anymore, right? So it can't be minted anymore. Now, question: how much is in the wallet? Well, we've got 7.7 billion sitting in the top wallet here, the DA4 wallet with 17.42%, and presumably that's a good actor there. And we've got the next one is 1.23% with 545 million. And remember, when we saw this chart here, the first move was 500 million, and it was just dumping it down, down, down. We saw a multiple 500 millions plus a lot of 50 million moves on that wallet, right? So that was what we saw there. In fact, we can go up here and have a look on the chart, and let's just do a good amount here. I'm gonna just take a guess here, but let's pick 100,000 and see what transactions come up there. Well, that's probably not the best liquid there. Let me clear this and let me go to the DAI one instead. And let's do 50 million. 1, 2, 3, and let's have a look for these wallets. So yeah, we got DF3 there. So DF3, and I don't know if it's still showing up on this wallet here. It's not on that one, but we got DF3 here. This is the one that caused all the drama, and you can see the wallets here. 500 million, and this doesn't have them all, but 500 million there coming up there as well. So depending on which pair you're looking at, right? This has got 500 million here, and it kicked off with a whole ton of 50 millions, but on other pairs it also shows on the Pulse pair, I think it is, shows the other 500, right? So a lot of drama there with this wallet DF3 causing the havoc there. Now that does appear to be KD there from and their team from XUSD doing these moves, right? So that's kind of where we're at the moment. And yeah, we got a lot of wallets below 1%, right? So all these wallets, 329 million. These are all different holders. We've got some smart contracts in there as well with LP pools, most likely for all those, and so on. So that's kind of where we are. We've got lots of accounts there. To get on the first page, you got 78 million on the bottom there. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. And the holders, 555,000. There's probably a lot of people holding some of these tokens, don't even realize that they're there. So you got a lot of that in the mix as well. We got the contract, right? So the contract has the code, has read contract, and has the write contract, right? And on the write contract here, this is not the maker contract. Remember, this is the DAI token contract. So it won't have the functions like what we saw with the calling of the ESM, right? So with the fire function. So that's on the maker contract, not on the DAI contract. So just separate those two out in your mind. That's kind of the play. All right, so kind of cool. Let's jump over to some of those other things. I'm not sure what I'm looking at there, but let's go over there. And now we're going to look at some of the other tokens, right? So we looked at PDai and the drama and the winners and losers. And of course, we're going to talk about the team that's been moving on all this stuff. And we've got USDC. So what are we talking about? We're talking about PDai, but we've got two other big players, right? We've got USDC, so Circle, right, which is a United States stablecoin. Obviously, there's a fork copy. It's not pegged, of course. And we also got USD Tether, right? So we're going to talk about that as well. So at the moment, we can see the ratio here. We can see the price, and we're sitting at 17/100th of a penny. So it's actually at a slight premium. Now, obviously, there's different pools for these tokens, but it's sitting at a premium compared to PDai, which is sitting at 1/10th of a penny exactly. And then we've got almost 18/100th of a penny for the old USDC. And we can see a big wick back here. Now, it's obviously operated differently. Let me go to the hourly there so it's comparable. So we had the hourly here. This all happened at 1700 hours on my time frame, right? So that's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's a pretty good time actually for this to happen because you're kind of awake and you're having some coffees with the lads in the Discord, and it's kind of perfect time, right? So this got all the way down to 00013, and then has rebounded pretty hard, right above, like even better than PDai, all the way back up there, and then it's stabilized out here at 1797. So the future of PDai, they're going to have something similar. Obviously, the USDC wasn't the one that was getting dumped down, so to speak, but that did get dumped here. And of course, they all got dragged down, right? They're all kind of associated to each other. And, there's link pools and all sorts of stuff. We got USD Tether, obviously the other one. Tether, of course, not an American. And, you got Tron there benefiting from all that, Jason Sun and all the good stuff. Now, this is the copy. And, of course, it got smashed all the way from 22. So USDC, we saw PDai. Let me just get rid of this chart here. We saw PDai was up, around about 0.3 of a penny after having a great little rally. Had a nice little mini rally. The sentiment inside the telegram for DAI was super high, and then suddenly this happened and all hell breaks loose. So everyone's really happy, and then all hell breaks loose, and everyone's going, "What the hell is going on here?" I thought it was PDai to $1. We're heading up, 0.3 of a penny, and of course, everyone's hoping to get back to the previous high at least, which is 3.3 cents, right? So that's kind of where we are at the moment. And then, of course, USDC was up here. It was up here at 25 quarter of a penny. 2500th a penny, and it actually breached up at 36 as well. So it actually got up to a third of a penny there, and has rebounded and now sitting at almost 2/10 of a penny just below that. So, and then we have USD Tether. USD Tether started off pretty strong at 22 as well. So 22 is pretty similar, I think, just below USDC. And of course, the Tether one there are absolutely going all the way down here to quadruple 0.95 before rebounding, and has got back to 1/10 of a penny. So looking very similar to PDai is USD Tether there. Circle having the benefit, the premium at the moment. So that's kind of where we are, and interesting, they're tracking pretty closely. So that's kind of what's happened there with the tokens. And we want to look, what else we want to look, see what's happened with the tokens, but we also want to look what's happening to the ratio between the tokens, right? Obviously, trying to get these tokens, these stable coins to parity with each other. And we can see here at the moment that USD Tether and PDai at a 1-to-1 parity, or more or less. I mean, they're moving around a little bit. You can see the volatility. I say a little bit, but they're moving around a lot. You can see the volatility there in the weekly candle. That's the weekly candle, by the way. This is not daily now. We've moved from daily to weekly. And you can see a 1-to-1 parity is this orange line. And, we've been well below here on USD Tether versus PDai. PDai being, of course, the leader of the pack most of the time, and with the maker product itself. And, of course, there's all these other tokens sitting around us, right? There's the compound, Aave forks. There's all these other tokens. There's staked ETH. There's all these derivatives, little A's on the front of them. There's lots of different tokens out there in this whole ecosystem. I don't know, it's probably 20, 30 tokens or something. There's definitely a lot that kind of tend to move at some stage following each other. But at the moment, this is kind of the major three, and we're sitting at about 9/900ths of a PDai for USD Tether, but it's pretty much sitting at 1-to-1, and that's the weekly candle there. So it's a big reversal, right, over the last couple of weeks, back to 1-to-1, and that's kind of a desired trait, right? The other way you do that is by burning some of these tokens off, getting rid of some tokens, and sort of equalizing the supply up as well would probably be one of the methods that they're looking at there. So looking at the daily, they can see the move there, and it's just pretty interesting that we're basically back to 1-1 despite the volatility yesterday. Looks like we've started a new day, and we're sitting pretty even there, close to 1-1. So this is something to watch with some of the outcomes that people are trying to stabilize these to dollar. They sort of keep them relative, get the burn supplies relative, and hopefully that's going to be one of the key mechanisms to move these speculative stable coins up to $1 pretty much. So that's kind of a view of the stable coins, and then it gets us to kind of the main event, really. That gets us to the main event. So we're going to talk about that. Big shout out to everybody. We've got about 210 people watching at the moment, so don't forget to smash the follow button, smash the live, and smash the like button, and of course share around, repost, and much appreciated. Let's see who else. We've got a few more people in the chat there, so I'm going to get to that before we get to the main event, talking about XUSD. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. Actually, we're going to go back and we're going to not finish that. We've got one more chart to talk about before we get to the main event, and that is USDC. So USDC is obviously above the 1/10 of a penny, and we're also above on the weekly the 1-to-1, right? The 1-to-1. So USDC versus PDai is actually at 1.78 at the moment, and it's had some absolutely ridiculous 23x on that one. Pretty crazy, right? So if you think this is going to converge back down to a 1-to-1, then you've got that opportunity to take profits as it moves down. That's kind of the logic there, as these all kind of, maybe they move towards each other at 1-to-1 there. That could be one of the key outcomes from the team that we're about to talk about, which is XUSD. So some pretty interesting stuff there. Let's get into some of the comments before we get into the final sort of finale, and we're going to be getting into XUSD team, and of course with Katie and others as well. Now, we're going to have more information come out, I guess, in the days ahead, and I've got a few little bit of tidbits around this coming up. So let's get into it. We got Brennan says nipples stay pegged. Indeed, it seems like the Somi culture is taking over the world there, Brennan. He certainly is. Who would say that, said Brennan? Who would say that? Frank says great coverage here as always. I appreciate that, Frank. Big shout out again. We got such a great community, man. And that's what we want. We want just really, really, really fun people in the Pulse chain. And Frank White's right in the mix there. Great Ox says Treasury is king. Big shout out to the Treasury team there. Crypto MVS says only the true kings in the chat. Chugga. What else there? We got the Great Ox, EHEX and PX yield. Yeah. Hey, look, man, you can't get past it. Honestly, make sure you got your good bag of rich heart tokens. I'm just saying that, once they run, they're going to run. and not all coins are going to run with it, right? They're not always going to be leveraging against it. You guys have heard me many times talk about tokens and projects I think will run as a leverage to rich altcoins. But remember, once people will flock back into value if those start moving, and you guys know some of the reasons why they might start moving. Just remember that. Are you saying not the dong, Brennan? Not the dong. Pedo to one dong. Crypto MS, where's the community? Not one mofo. I'm not sure where that's heading, MBS, but my nipples are pegged too, and bags packs is RDX Lauren. There we go. All right, so there we go. Let's get into it. We're going to get into the big finale, which is the XUSD team. And of course, that's been pumping. So we're going to talk about that. So let's get into that chart. Bam. All right, so this is the XUSD team here. And as I said earlier, the team is made up of quite a large number. I mean, there's 6 community team members in the Telegram. There's 4 dev team members. They're the kind of the ones we're following. They're the ones who kind of make these actions. There's the marketing guy, Andreas Johnson. And then there's a couple others there as well. Bentley Hicks as well. I know Bentley, so a big shout out to Bentley out there. But the dev team, Katie is the one you're probably going to hear a lot about. I think Somni's been talking about her as well, and that is the Katie is spelled Cattie, and of course that's the name that we're going to be talking about most of the time. There are other devs in the team. Surfsing, of course, is one of them. Surfsing 8671, and then there's Co5 Tick. There's another one, and then Dreadish Hamish is the 4th one there as well. And apparently there is associations between Katie boyfriend and of course James Maria, and of course they've probably got some connection there. And of course we know, going flashbacking to where we were with James Maria. Obviously, we had an event there a couple of weeks ago with the big sell down of Atropa, and of course, James Maria, on a public thing, being panicked by the exploiter, Mr. Dong, and the activities there, and of course, people talking about $4 to $8 million being siphoned out of Pulse Chain. So it was a serious leakage issue for Pulse Chain. There's no doubt about that, especially when you consider the bridge is about 80 million. I think back then it was about 125 million. So there's a certain issue there. And in addition to that, we also obviously had Rabbi and D-Bank and all that sort of issues as well. Despite the fact that Richard Hart's essentially won the SEC case. And actually, we're only, 4 days away, approximately 4 or 5 days away from the extension running out. So we're going to see what the SEC does within, the next four days or so. So over Easter, actually, probably on the other side. Once the business days open up, but that's coming up for us in the week ahead, so it's going to be pretty crazy. So yeah, that's kind of where we are with the background, and Atropa got pretty much smashed, and now we had PDai smash and boom again, and here we are with XUSD. Now, what's happened to XUSD? It's pumped big time, right? So those funds, when you sell down PDai, what do you get? You get Pulse, and of course here we got the XUSD Pulse pair, and what do we see? Exact same timing. So here we've got the time frame here at 1700, so it's 5 p.m. My time there, which is UTC plus 12. And then we've got the XUSD starts pumping from that time, right? So from that time, we've got this pumping, a little bit of sell-off here, but then we got this pumping coming in at 1900 all the way up to the top here. And it's only just started pulling back just as we're watching this video right now. But, it's pretty crazy. And we see that the price there pretty much up 1,745%. So there's an 18x that people would have got inside 12 hours or so. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, maybe 14 hours, 18x there. So absolutely astonishing. And congratulations if you were in that XUSD. Now, XUSD vibratile asset. So we're going to go through this a little bit, trying to see, understand what's going on, right? This is the title of the video, what is going on. And of course, we've been laying out, a certain amount of overview to this. This is not meant to be the comprehensive. There's things that we don't know that are happening by the devs behind the scene, and it's that's just the way it goes. But we're up 17.45%, and we're now down at 8,500th of a penny. But we did get up to 1.2, almost 1.2 cents here on XUSD. Now, the idea of this is to slowly progress towards a stable coin, right, of XUSD. So we're going to be seeing that. And of course, what happens when you pump volume through XUSD with Pulse? What happens? You burn XUSD. So you burn the supply, and what happens? That means that you go up and up and up. So I'm not sure what the starting supply was exactly, but I think it was below 3%. It is now over 8% on the burn. So that's pretty powerful stuff there. In fact, I'm going to have a quick look to see what it is right now. I think I've got the link here somewhere. Let me just have a quick look. And let's scroll down here a little bit. Bear with me, folks. I got too much stuff open. Okay, we got the XUSD live burn tracker. You can see it on Telegram. It's a Telegram link there. You can join up. There's only 54 members in it at the moment, so it's a pretty exclusive club for the moment. But XUSD live burner tracker, and they're up now up to 8% of burn, and they've been burning percentage after percentage through the volume. So obviously the volume's gone up. See all this volume just come into the play. They have absolutely pumped it and burn. And obviously some profit taking going on here as well. But the volume is burning and it's been dramatic. Now, this thing has only just opened, this burn tracker, and it's been opened it started off at 4%. This was at 3 o'clock in the morning. So what's that? That's 9 hours, 10 hours ago. 10 hours ago, the supply of XUSD, it was at 4%. It's basically 10 hours later, it's now at 8%. 8%. You're talking about a lot. So pretty crazy. It had start off with just 10 hours. It's not the full burn. It's just so it started off even lower, and it's jumped. It's jumped dramatically. So these guys absolutely jumped it. So let's have a look at the history of this protocol and look at the daily, and you can see the burn volume here. Previously would have been pretty high, but now it's really ramped up here today. Look at that volume candle, just absolutely massive. So pretty huge, right? It's pretty huge. I'm just trying to have a look here on the price there. So we turn off the volume there. So you can see the volume's disappeared. Look at that price chart, but the volume's just gone through the roof. So the volume has been massive, $207,000 in there, just that amount. Now, with the Atropa, so we haven't got Atropa up here, but with the Atropa, I'm going to pull that back up actually. But with the Atropa, we've saw that get pumped, right? So Atropa got pumped. And I'm going to bring that up. So let me do that in a minute. I thought I had it up, but obviously forgotten about that. How could I forget about Atropa? Kind of the main event besides that one. But we had Atropa, and I'm going to go to Atropa here. And obviously we saw a big pump in this, right? So a big pump in Atropa. There's the daily. So let's go to the hourly on Atropa, and we saw a big pump, right? Big pump in there, big volume coming in, and $2.5 million of volume just in that candle. And $100 million in the previous candle. Still got quite a bit. These are hourly candles, by the way. And we saw that get pumped up, right? Get pumped up there to 4.5. So it does look like this Katie and James Maria kind of ecosystem looks very connected. Now, and of course, the XUSD's gone to 8% burn, which is pretty interesting, right? So obviously, XUSD is being pushed towards the stable coin. So let's have a look at the website, and we're going to have a look at this as well. So welcome to XUSD Vibratile Asset Protocol, the first algorithmic stablecoin on Pulsechain powered by the community. Now, apparently, before we get onto that, the team, Katie said early this morning, probably, I'm just trying to think now, probably 4.5 hours ago, that they still had powder for Atropa. So they still had buy power for Atropa. So that's going to be pretty interesting. So yeah, that's coming up as well. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. And we'll probably do another update tomorrow as we get more information. We're going to talk more about that and fill in a few of the things that we probably haven't talked about today. So there's that's going to be pretty interesting. So more buy power for there, and we're going to probably talk about that too. So let me just jump into one thing here quickly. So yeah, I haven't got that up at the moment. So that's something we will talk about. So that's kind of where we are, and we'll probably going to bring more info on this. And I think we've got a bit more there too. I just don't want to say it because I want to confirm it first. It's just the way it goes. But on the website, let's go to the main page and let's try to understand what's happening with XUSD. And of course, everyone's talking about PDai Maker. That's pretty much been closed down. This has been closed down. We can see that there it's closed down now, and so we've got to move on. And we've got the Atropa, and we've got the XUSD, and we've got all these stable coins sort of parodying each other, moving to parity. And then we've got your XUSD then suddenly going from, a couple percent burn to now, 8% burn. I mean, just in 12 hours or so. So it's really starting to ratchet up there. Now, the first Vibratile token pegged to $1 on Pulsechain powered by the community. So this is a certain model to get to a peg. Different from PUSD ALGO, which is a full decentralized algorithmic stablecoin based on stability miners, so whole different approach, and that actually starts at $1 peg. So the way to get into that now is actually to participate in the sacrifice/contribution, and that's the links in the video description if you want to participate in that. And of course, we're a big backer of that approach with Jacob there. So yeah, we've got the burns there, pretty exciting, moving up pretty strongly. It's got the burn sticking away there. I'm just going to see how that burn number matches with the burn tracker, actually. Let's see how that looks compared to the burn tracker. 207. So it looks like it's a little lagged on the old website there. Got the current burn, total burn, 28 million tokens for XUSD burn so far. So I'm not so sure what that number is. A little lagging there. Now we got why choose XUSD? First on Pulse Chain, our stablecoin protocol contract is a supply based on market conditions, ensuring long-term price stability. It's community driven, of course. You earn rewards and increase your influence by engaging in good vibe activities within the ecosystem. Massive rewards, transactional rewards, and seniorage rewards. So getting senior, moving up the ranks, combined to unleash the burn to mint mechanism. So rewards combined to unleash the burn to mint mechanism. Current stablecoin dynamics on Ethereum. Stablecoins like USDC, USD Tether, and DAI account for over 30 billion in daily transactions, 3 or 4 times more than Bitcoin. What will the daily volume for stablecoins look like on Pulse Chain? So very key little bullish sign there. What will the daily volume of stablecoins look like on Pulse Chain? With a hypothetical 100 million transaction volume and a 1% fee, XUSD could potentially generate 1 million in daily rewards. So that's kind of the idea there if you're holding XUSD. So, XUSD looking like a champion right now, and the team is on the move. So they've shut down the PDai maker, and it looks like they've rallying up their XUSD. So that's kind of where we are with that. It's got obviously innovative tokenomics, maintaining long-term price stability with supply contraction and inflation based in real-time market conditions. So that's kind of where they are there. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. That's a little bit small. And transaction burn. Transactions on the token will always burn the token. And so you can see this massive volume coming in. That's a massive burn, right? Massive burn there on that. And yeah, so that's huge, right? It's huge on the burn. And let me just jump over to incentives. So earn rewards and increase your influence by participating in good vibe activities. Get your Viber Pass, unlock rewards, and be a positive participant in the ecosystem as we work towards the peg. So they're working towards the peg. So there's going to be a algorithmic stablecoin to $1, or at least a protocol to $1, and they're backing their process, and they've already obviously made some big moves over the last 24 hours. Earn substantial rewards when XUSD minting protocol is deployed. Delayed gratification with patience comes success. Gain additional rewards by trading and burning token there. So that's kind of the overview of the protocol. They have obviously LP staking, the Viber Pass. They got the trading and the vote, and they've also got the docs. And the docs is what we're going to kind of look at here a little bit. So the Viber tank, we're just going to go through a little bit of this. And we're gonna probably break this down in another video because it's quite a lot of stuff, and I don't want to go too long here. We're up to an hour and 22 minutes already. So a Vibratile token is an digital asset that oscillates around a target price, fluctuating above and below a fixed point. Unlike stablecoins, which aim to maintain a steady value, Vibratile tokens leverage volatility to maintain price stability. For instance, XUSD oscillates around $1 but should not be confused with a stablecoin. So it's very important that we start with that in our mindset. So yeah, I've seen Katie say that they're not expecting, don't expect to be $1, but to work towards moving up to $1 by burning supply mechanisms, demand mechanisms, and we've seen some big moves there. So that's kind of the logic there. Similarly, XUSD contracts is supplied by burning tokens, shortening the rope to raise the price. When the price is too high, it inflates the supply, adds rope to bring it back to the target. That's kind of there. The simple analogy helps illustrate the mechanics of XUSD, balancing contraction and inflation to maintain its peg. That's kind of the logic there. How Vibratile tokens different from stablecoins. Unlike stablecoins, which maintain value through collateral, Vibratile tokens like XUSD rely on token mechanics, and community support. Stablecoins typically backed by reserve assets such as USDC, which hold a 1-to-1 ratio with USDC. So this team looks like not really relying on their collateral approach at this stage, despite their interactions with the PDai and the Atropa. Vibratile tokens maintain their peg using algorithms and mechanics that adjust the token supply through contraction and inflation. So this is really the XUSD theory, as opposed to the Atropa theory using obviously PDai into Atropa. But we're going to explore that a bit more too in another show. Contraction, of course, occurs when token supply decreases, preventing inflation. So obviously we've seen a massive burn up to 8%. So overnight. So that's definitely been a big move here. XUSD reduces its supply through a burning mechanism, removing tokens from circulation. Dynamic taxes, 70% of all transaction taxes are burnt, while the remaining 30% is used for bonds. This ensures a continuous contraction burn, which increases the transaction volume. User contributions, users can contribute to token burns and receive credits for helping reduce the supply. So now they've got an incentive. So their idea is not only to have this burn, but they have incentives. So the incentives is the idea to slowly ratchet this thing up, potentially to $1. But I mean, the thing could go, just keep going, right? There's nothing really stopping it from going, but way past $1. So, it's kind of where it is. Now they could set a target and they can try and hold that target with their mechanisms in place. So with the contracts and stuff. Inflation. In contrast to contraction, inflation occurs when the token supply increases. When demand for XUSD exceeds the supply, inflation becomes necessary to lower the price back to the target level. Positive use of inflation. Inflation is used as a tool for economic growth and price stability rather than having negative connotations. And of course, inflation rewards. Key stakeholders receive inflationary rewards to adjust the price of XUSD. The rate of inflation is based on the time-weighted average price and epoch periods there. So adjustments are made when necessary to keep inflation aligned with economic growth. Now, that is kind of where we're heading with this token. So some of the next steps are, in the upcoming brainstorm section, we'll explore ways users can actively contribute to the contraction of XUSD while increasing their personal earnings. So it's a kind of a win-win there with the incentive mechanisms there. So key takeaways: XUSD uses oscillating mechanisms to maintain its target price. Unlike stablecoins, the contraction mechanism burns tokens to reduce volume, while inflation adjusts supply when demand exceeds the peg. Community trust is essential in maintaining the supply. So let's sort of summarize some of the things I'm seeing here. Now, we're obviously not going through the whole of the website, but it's kind of like, PDai, they shut it down. They win the auctions, shut it down. PDai there gets a sell-off. It repumps again because the minting's now ended. So there's a fixed supply. And of course, the USDC and USD Tether will get paired up together. And then, of course, we've got then suddenly a lot of capital starts going into XUSD, pumping this and burning it towards, perhaps $1. That is kind of where we're sitting there, and it's taking a different model to do that through burning and incentives. So that's kind of the summary at the moment. And of course, they've still got plenty of dry powder from selling all that PDai into Pulse. And of course, they took tons of money out there, millions of dollars. And of course, they've still got more dry powder for that and holding that asset. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Atropa goes from here, with more dry powder and holding more Atropa tokens there, and what's the relationship to James Maria, and that's something we're going to have to flesh out further in the future. And I'm sure Somi and other people will have comments on that. And as we get more information, we're going to feed that through. Now that is kind of the play at the moment, and as soon as we find out more information, we're going to try and pass that on to you guys as well. And always do your own research as usual. And of course, there's lots of cool little tidbits out there to find out about. In fact, I'm just going to quickly check that I've covered everything I wanted to today. Let's see here. Yeah, there was talk about Atropa replacing MakerDAO, but we'll see about that as well, because there's that theory out there too, and we're going to flesh that out a bit more. I think there's a few gaps in that theory, but definitely with the parity between PDai, USDC, and USD Tether, that plays in pretty well, and that may be part of the puzzle. Obviously, XUSD doesn't necessarily require that; they require volume and the incentive programs. But with the Atropa there, we still need a bit more information about how that parity between different stablecoins, PDai, PUSD, etc., are going to relate to each other. So that's kind of cool, and obviously controlling that PDai maker, and also the relationship between, getting a bit more relationship between Katie, one of the 4 developers there for XUSD, and of course James Maria, the Atropa dev, and Teddy Bear dev, their OG. So that's kind of where we're heading there. I think that's kind of it for the moment. And of course, as we find out a bit more, we will talk about that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. We're up to almost an hour and a half. Can you believe it? And hopefully that gives a lot of people kind of a general overview. And like I say, there's a bit more missing around that Atropa theory with the stablecoins. So we're going to try and get a bit more on that. But definitely XUSDC there really climbing, right? Really climbing that model of trying to move it up to a peg or something. Whether they get up to $1 and then try to maintain that, it's another question, because if you're going to oscillate, you could oscillate on a trending to the upside, right? So you could just oscillate around that. So we'll see how that goes. All right, if you haven't subscribed, smash the subscribe button, hit the follow button. Hopefully that's helped many of you that going through that. Obviously, it's not meant to be, complete information. I don't have complete information. Nobody does, except for perhaps the team that's running this whole program, Katie and the rest of them. Yeah, the more we find out, the more we'll pass on to you guys. Some cool people to follow. Obviously, Somi's doing a lot of coverage. He's got a lot of networks into a lot of stuff. 99 Capital is up from the PDai Maker Theory. Probably the best person out there for that, I'm aware of. Gives a lot of evidence-based stuff, so he's a good one to follow on X and 99's Capital. And of course, if you can get into the DAI chat as well, there's lots of people passing a lot of information into the DAI chat on Telegram. And those are some good places to be. And obviously, our Discord, you can get in there, and we're sort of collecting information too. So it's going to be a fun ride, and we've seen some big moves. And I think this can only be a good thing, right? PDai shut down, they exploit, that's stopping leakage out of the system. That's good for all of us. That's good for all of us. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. And, we don't need that sitting around there where someone's, milking the cow, as it were. They keep the cow alive, but they keep milking it. We don't want that. So just remember that. All right, enough about cows. Do I get a cut for that? I don't know. If I start getting into bad jokes like that, we're really getting problems. So let's jump into some final comments here, just to wrap things up. And we've got Brenton Huntswell in the house there. Big shout out to you, Brenton. Hey guys, good to see you. We got USA in there. Treasury is a little hex printer there. Yeah, it's certainly the yield's been minted. The hex has been minted, and it's recycling some of that. So it's definitely the case. We got Treasury and OG Heart ecosystem in the house there from Free ES. Big shout out to you guys. Katie is a super dev, says Brennan. Yeah, definitely a super dev there. So big shout out to super dev, Katie. And of course, you're welcome on the show anytime. I know they're probably gonna try to keep on the down low, but yeah, it'd be great, Katie. They're doing some big moves. They're big moves to do. What happened overnight? Hex printer there in the house there from VS. Nice one. It's hey, look, I like people post their projects. It's fine, but just don't shill the chat. It's it's a bit over the top. But if you want to post it once there, here or there, that's fine. Marcus in the house there. Sup guys? Good to see you, Marcus. Big shout out. XUSD on fire, says Brennan. Absolutely is on fire, man. Absolutely. Hey, we got Mr. Onizuka in the house there. How's it going? I want to say a public thank you to Onizuka. He's helped a lot with the branding of the channel, and I'm going to be doing an upgrade based on something he gave me for tomorrow's show. I forgot to put it in today, so I'm going to do it tomorrow. But we got the 50% version today. That's going to be cool. Stephanie smashed the likes. Mark says, how you like your meme coins? Well, hey, look, we've been covering every single category on PulseChain that's been performing over the last week or two, Marcus. So we've been covering pump tires, we've been covering meme coins, we've been covering what else? We've been covering printer tokens, Richard Hart tokens. I mean, so much stuff today. We're covering PDai. It is pretty crazy on PulseChain, but we're keeping on the frontier of all the cool things. And I really do sense a great lifting in the community sentiment. Community's been through a lot, and it's become very tough. And of course, it's kind of like a little bit like last man standing, but there's a whole ton of men standing and women. It's pretty exciting. So Brennan says, if cattle is buying deflationary tokens with the PDai, or Katie, you mean Katie? Katie is buying deflationary tokens with the PDai, and from the auctions, that's inherently burning the PDai supply too. That's true. Well said there, Brennan. And we got Marcus says best KOL for PulseChain up and comers. Absolutely. MVS says you're on fire, Triple Alliance. He definitely is. Thanks for covering PulseChain Legend, says Frank. You're most welcome. And Crypto Cycle said Titanix plan for all BOT projects. Then the LP remove sell pressure, earn fees plan. No further cash injections needed. Plan A meet. Absolutely. No, they're definitely. I'm not talking about Titanix today, but we're definitely talking about that in the future because that's kind of a no-brainer for me. Wait for the Titanix weekly stream meeting with Rayman. Awesome X. Yep. Definitely good news about revealed plan, Eros, burn, 100% crypto cycles. I'll try and cover that tomorrow, as much of that as I can, definitely. Team Beer says crypto cycles, nice. And of course, that's James Maria. And we got Goo God in the house there. Big shout out to Goo God. Good morning, King. King in the house, so King Project team as well. So it's great to have you all in the house there. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. I've got to wrap up now, though. It's an hour and 33 minutes, and I've normally tried to do an hour. So there we go. We got smashed. Alien King and K-Bell King in the same chat. Nice. Yeah. We've got a great bunch of teams in the chat right now. So a big shout out to all you guys. And many of you guys know we're trying to support a lot of the small to medium teams and larger teams at that. But we just want PulseChain to succeed. and we're doing our best to provide a professional promotional service as well now to help people to do really well. And some of these teams are just fantastic. So they've got great themes, great tokenomics, and we're really looking forward to it really flying. And of course, if you want to hit us up with our promotions, definitely check, hit up Crypt MVS. He's leading our promotions, and people need a reliable place they can go to get good service, and that's what we're doing, right? We think there's a big gap in Pulse Chain for that, and it's going to be really fun to see that play out. So far, it's been amazing, been absolutely amazing. This channel got the most heavy hitters going under the radar. It certainly has, Crypto Invest. All right, big shout out, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, share the channel around. I'll catch you again tomorrow on another awesome show. We'll definitely follow up on this with the latest information. So definitely tune in tomorrow for that. And have a good, great time. And what else are we going to say? I think that's it. All right, peace out, everybody. Take care. Bye for now.